Hello and welcome to a very special video. Today I'm going to talk about a few things I have issue with when it comes to the Palanites and some elements of Necromunda, which I hope you'll hang around and at least give me some creative criticism or, tell me if I'm an idiot. Whichever you feel like most, it's always welcome. So let's touch on the veterans. I'm not going to get too into the aesthetics just yet, but there's one thing that really bothers me about the veterans. I like the model overall, but it's the helmet. And I had made a joke to my brother when I was talking about doing this video that they look like cone heads. And he corrected me and said, they look vaguely like cone heads, but who they really look like is, dun dun dun, Sloth from the Goonies. And I couldn't unsee it. Now, how would I have fixed it? Well, I'm going to talk about the aesthetics of the Palanites and where I think there's been kind of a just utter miss with them. But what I'm going to say is, if you know anything about Roman gladiators, there's a secutor, which I'm also probably annihilating that word, but they have a thin metallic ridge at the top of their helmet that kind of goes along the same amount of real estate as this, and I think that would have looked way better on these guys and felt more practical. Plus, that's got to be heavy on that helmet. So, overall, I don't hate the designs of the Palanites. I actually like the veterans. My problem is actually they don't look like they fit in Warhammer. Just going to say it right out there. It's the same problem I have with Primaris. You can turn off the video, tell me how horrible I am, but hear me out if you want to. If you really want to know why I'm thinking, it's not a hatred of the models. I do like the Palanites. I just don't feel like they have that feeling like they fit in the setting like our bodies. And it just bothers me. And it's been a problem. It's like, I don't hate the designs. I just feel like they fight against the aesthetics. And there should be some things that we do to help them get over the hump. Overall, they're not bad models. I'm not gonna give anyone crap. I do like how they look, and hey, they're cool. They're just really handy to use in a whole bunch of games that aren't Necromunda or Warhammer, honestly. So, we have my opinion of them. I think the helmet looks ridiculous. I don't think they needed to rock the sloth style, but they do that. Maybe they're giant fans of the Goonies in the future. I don't know. So what would I do with the Palanites to try to bring them into a more fitting situation with the aesthetics of Warhammer? Well, I don't want them festooned with freaking skulls, for one. I don't think they need a million Imperial Eagles or anything like that. Actually, I like the idea of, I mentioned the Secutor? I don't know. I'm messing it up. But I mentioned one of ancient Rome's gladiator types. So what I would like to see, and this could have been a really cool idea, is that the Palanites actually are modeled off different types of ancient Roman gladiators. They have a kind of uniform style that kind of unites them, but their armor, like their helmets, some of their armor, and their equipment changes based on the kind of gladiator aesthetic. You could even have maybe they're recruited from areas controlled by the different houses / gangs, and they have created forms of combat that are best suited against that gang, and they're in a division that works against it. Remember, hive cities are huge, so that kind of specialization would make sense. Plus, we can take some of those aesthetics from ancient Romans, like we've done with older Space Marines, not Primaris. They don't have any of it. They're basically just sci-fi stormtroopers. But like with older Space Marines, where they were meant to look reminiscent of Roman legionnaires, I think you could dip into a whole bunch of different types and styles. And of course, they're going to be armed with all kinds of different weapons, but we also have the ability to bring in melee weapons based off like Gladius power swords and tridents and so on and so on. And you could even have like cool things where they have like net launchers and stuff with that kind of I forget the particular type of Roman gladiator that's specialized with the net and the trident, but maybe he has like a shock trident or a shock lance, and he uses the net to catch people and then shock them. Whatever. But I think the biggest problem is that the Palanites feel like they would fit in a ton of different science fiction and even maybe a lot of low science fiction settings. The problem is they don't feel that kind of ancient, weathered feeling that you would get from an institution like the Imperium, and the fact that it kind of grinds down the local flavors. And there'd be an interesting element of having the idea of gladiators transferred over into this kind of law enforcement thing. The problem is that they don't look at keeping the aesthetics. They create something, and again, there's nothing wrong with you liking the Palanites as they are. But for me, when I look at them, I just think these guys could be just about anything else. And I think that it would be really cool to see them take these kind of Roman gladiator styles, lay them over it, and really give them a kind of character. Plus, you would be able to expand out and take the different types of gladiators and model new releases after them. And you'd have a kind of an interesting way, and it would feel like something that could be natural. And you could build them into being maybe working with the Arbites or whatever you feel like. But hey, that was my idea. What do you guys think? Do you think that would be kind of a cool aesthetic? Would you like to see that? Do you also think that the Palanites just feel kind of off, even in Necromunda? I don't know. Hey, just let me know. And you know what? Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.